Hello everyone, my name is Julian Aday, and this is my design project presentation. In this video, we'll be looking over our proposed product design, and we'll not only be asking questions related to the design, but we'll be backing it up with a related study, and we'll also be answering why those questions are important. So the proposed product in this case is a new gig app for restaurant workers. I'm pretty sure we've all interacted with different gig apps such as Uber, Uber Eats, DoorDash, all of those examples. But to give a clear and concise definition, a gig app is an online platform that pairs customers to a particular service. To also give a little bit of context, after the pandemic, there were a lot of restaurants reporting a decrease in employment, which didn't bring them a lot of money. But on the other hand, there were a lot of workers at the time wanting to be self-employed and do their own scheduling because of the hybrid world that was being created. So this app matches restaurant workers to different restaurants that are in need of workers. This promotes the flexibility that the workers wanted in the first place, to change the scenery so they don't see the same thing every day, and the needed service to the business to keep it up and running. So there are a lot of questions that come up or come to mind when we look at this app, especially with how human beings are going to interact with it. And these are only just some that come to mind. The first being what regulatory considerations need to be addressed in different locations where the app functions. Second is what specific characteristics of this new app do we need to advertise to generate the same, if not more amount of engagement as other gig apps such as Uber Eats and Rover. And lastly, how will this app generate or gather feedback from both workers and restaurants to continuously improve its services? I believe that these questions are very foundational to try and get the answers to make this app functional. However, I believe that there is a very important question to bring up that is very essential. How will this app address the learning curve and the training created at different restaurants? When you've gone to different restaurants, it's very clear that not all restaurants are the same. Not every restaurant uses the same system or has the same layout, and even some tasks are different from certain positions. A server at one restaurant is not the same as the server at a different restaurant. Because they're different, it could be very hard to adjust from place to place as a worker. This is where I would like to bring a related research study. This study is called Skills Training for the Success of the Gig Economy by Behera and Gar. In this research study, they talk about how there were a lot of technological advancements that have been made within previous decades that have also helped the gig economy grow. However, there was a lot of focus that is being made in those technological advancements, and they disregard the skill levels that are needed to handle those advancements to begin with. So after addressing that, Behera and Gar go into this study by looking at the gig economy in India. So why are we looking at India? We're looking at India because there is an exponential growth in the gig economy within the country, because that's where most of the people within India are getting their employment and are seeing an increase in revenue. They also go in with questions that are important, such as what are the most notable features in India's gig economy that keep it thriving? What are the skill requirements needed to be successful in the gig economy, as well as the challenges that those people face when it comes to developing those skills. So the methodology that was being used was reviewing secondary sources such as public journals, data sets, surveys that were made by different restaurants and the restaurant workers, and other examples. So after looking at different sets of data that was made, or surveys, that was made from those restaurants, they gathered a list of skills that were needed to thrive in the gig economy. Some of those skills include entrepreneurial skills, dynamic learning, self-promotion, and methodical thinking. When you think about the gig economy, most of these workers are going to be on their own, doing their own work from day to day. So it is very essential that they're able to do all of these things on their own and fast while they're providing their services. However, because of these skills, there are also a lot of challenges, such as productivity loss, consistency, mindset, and time constraint. Not only do these workers have to work within a specific amount of time, but they also have to put in a lot of effort in learning these new skills, which can take up a lot of time when it comes to giving their services. Which is why they see problems such as consistency or productivity loss, because they put in so much effort in the learning and not so much in providing those services. At the end of the study, they come to the conclusion saying that the gig economy should value the learning of the workers and should encourage self-learning that is not only stimulating but enjoyable. I find this to be very important because since gig workers are working within a flexible time schedule, they also need to be able to do these learnings at home or at their own time rather than spending their valuable time working. This is where the connection to the proposed product comes. As technology advances, the systems in the gig economy should also be advancing in the learning department for gig workers. If we want people to thrive within the gig economy, if we want the gig economy to thrive, we also have to think about all the little things that paint the bigger picture. And one of those little things, quote unquote, is the learning curve. We need to make learning accessible for those workers, and we need to make it easier for them to work. And I think that has to be applied here in this new gig app for restaurant workers. If they're going to be adjusting from place to place, they also need to know the proper information from those different restaurants at home, rather than spending a lot of time at those restaurants doing a lot of the learning instead of a lot of the working. So these restaurants need to provide the gig workers or the restaurant workers accessible learning materials to help them adjust to different places efficiently, boosting productivity in return. It is essential that these workers understand that not only are they able to learn efficiently, but it's also important for those restaurants to address what information do you need? What skills do you find hard to adjust to, and what information do you feel like is the most important to work efficiently in these restaurants? And even if it's base level, even if it's some base information that all restaurants need to use, it is good to have all that information beforehand, so that when they go into their job, they not only understand what's happening in their environments, but they're able to adjust quickly from place to place.